After Ethan became unable to use his legs freely, our intimacy became more frequent. One session after another left my mouth feeling fiery hot. Just as I was heading to rinse my mouth, I suddenly saw bullet comments. Bullet comments. The gloomy Ethan wasn't confident to begin with. Seeing Sophie rinse her mouth now will definitely make him think she finds him disgusting again. Bullet comments. Last time, the underwear Sophie bought him was too small. He thought she was subtly implying something about him and frantically searched online everywhere, desperate to know how to satisfy his wife. Bullet comments. To punish Sophie fiercely, gloomy Ethan will definitely kiss her swollen tonight. I froze. After every intimate moment, I always went to rinse my mouth. The next morning, I would wake up covered in swollen patches. I always thought it was an allergy. I never imagined it was from being kissed swollen.
Welcome to listen to my full sweet love series novel. I'm the blogger and I'm Twilight's novel. Now let's start the main story.
I turned back in disbelief to look at Ethan. He was half lying on the bed, his pitch-black eyes fixed on me. A shudder ran through me. Was this how he always watched me when I walked towards the bathroom to rinse my mouth after we were together? Ethan, what's wrong? Ethan pursed his lips slightly, looking at me calmly. Aren't you going to rinse your mouth? The bullet comments exploded. Bullet comments. Every time Sophie rinses her mouth, Ethan's inferiority complex flares up, thinking she's disgusted by him. Bullet comments. Ethan is so fake. Bullet comments. Super fake gloomy guy. Ever since Sophie bought him that small underwear last time, he thought she was hinting about his size. Bullet comments. He panicked, spending day and night searching online, how to satisfy my wife. Bullet comments. He. Once Sophie finishes rinsing, bathing and falls asleep, gloomy Ethan will definitely kiss her fiercely until she's swollen. Bullet comments. Sophie can't handle this kind of torment. Let me take her place. I can endure even more. The thought of Ethan's handsome face buried against me, doing those things while I slept, made me involuntarily swallow hard. A flash of light instantly appeared in Ethan's eyes. He hesitated for a moment, his voice turning slightly hoarse. Before you always rinsed your mouth to spit it out. I bit my lip and whispered. Actually, every time before rinsing I didn't continue, just swallowed hard again. Ethan's breathing became visibly rapid. He seemed about to smile, but then remembered something, his fingers tightening on the quilt as he asked, Weren't you always disgusted? I hurriedly ran to his side. No. I like it. I really like it. I genuinely did like it. I loved everything about being with Ethan. But since the car accident that left him unable to walk, he had gradually started acting strangely. He refused to go out. And he developed an obsession with intimacy. Except during my period, he was always insatiable, clinging to me, kissing me. I absolutely adored it. But gradually, I realized that besides physical intimacy, it seemed like we had no other communication. To help Ethan become more cheerful and confident, I took him to a nearby mall. We happened to pass an underwear store. I casually bought him a few pairs of underwear. I bought his usual size. I didn't expect that brand's underwear ran small. Ethan hadn't reacted much at the time, just calmly said, It's fine, next time. Just buy a size larger. I thought the matter was over. But seeing the bullet comments, I realized Ethan actually believed I deliberately bought small underwear to imply something about him. Good heavens! I was truly wronged. If I were hinting anything, my mouth knew better than anyone. As for rinsing my mouth, it was because he was too enthusiastic. I got sore. That's why I had to rinse. I never imagined this simple act made Ethan think I was disgusted by him. How could I ever be disgusted by him? He was the love of my youth. Every minute and second spent with him felt like a blessing from heaven. Ethan, really, super like it? Though Ethan's legs couldn't move, his arms were incredibly strong. He flipped me over, pinning me down, a wounded look flashing in his dark eyes. Then why? Why didn't you want to last Friday at 9:10 p.m.? Last Friday at 9:10 p.m. He remembered the time so precisely. That night, he'd gone on for ages. Worried it was too taxing for his body, I pleaded exhaustion and refused him. Ethan's reaction had been calm then too. He held me and said softly, Okay, rest early then. He said he was going out to get water. But when he came back, I saw his eyes were red. I asked him what was wrong. He smiled faintly. A bit sleepy, just yawned. I knew he was lying. I assumed his red eyes were due to pain from his leg injury. Only now did I realize it was my rejection that made the usually reserved, impassive Ethan cry. Ethan. Why didn't you want to last Friday at 9:10 p.m.? Ethan was still looking at me, his voice actually beginning to choke up. Are you disgusted by me? Bullet comments. OMG. The insecure, gloomy guy actually asked outright. Bullet comments. What now? I'm a bit worried for Sophie. Whether she's disgusted or not, she's in for it tonight. Bullet comments. Huff huff, I'm so excited, yay yay. Bullet comments. Actually, I don't get why Ethan's so obsessed with that now. Before his legs were injured, he was always very restrained. Bullet comments. Because of love and insecurity. Bullet comments. After losing the use of his legs, Ethan became super sensitive and insecure. He's always terrified Sophie will leave him. Bullet comments. So he searched online, how to make sure my wife doesn't leave me? Bullet comments. The top answer was, give money, give tons of money. Bullet comments. Ethan did it, gave Sophie several unlimited black cards. But Sophie never used them. Bullet comments. So Ethan asked again, besides money, what else can keep my wife from leaving? Bullet comments. He saw one crudely written answer. Sex life. So that was it. My heart trembled. I couldn't hold back anymore, cupping Ethan's face. You're my husband. How could I be disgusted by you? Sophie, I didn't want to that night because I was worried about your health. The moment I finished speaking, I could clearly feel his body react. My face flushed. The bullet comments made me understand. There were misunderstandings between Ethan and me. For example, I loved him. He didn't know how much I loved him. Similarly, he loved me. I hadn't realized how much he loved me. Ethan was the son of a business tycoon. I was an orphan from an orphanage. Logically, our paths should never have crossed. But one night, Ethan's mother had a dream. An old deity told her Ethan would face a great calamity at 28. A lucky star was needed to save him. Otherwise, Ethan would die. Ethan's mother was deeply superstitious. She consulted a fortune teller who said the lucky star was in an orphanage. That's how I was adopted. I was 6. Ethan was 8. Ethan wasn't welcoming towards his suddenly acquired sister. He disliked me. He didn't like holding my hand or me touching his things. But I adored him. At first sight of the tall, handsome boy, my eyes sparkled. Drooling, I said, "Brother, you're so pretty, I really want to kiss you." Though Ethan disliked me, he was polite. "Little sister, you shouldn't call boys pretty. You can say, handsome." Ethan, and since my mom adopted you, you're my sister now. Boys and girls are different. We can't kiss. Wow, he was so proper, so restrained. I liked him even more. I followed him around daily, wanting to hold his hand, wanting to kiss him. Over time, Ethan finally got used to it. When I was 8, Ethan's parents took us abroad. I woke at night to a pitch-black, empty room. Terrified, I ran down the hotel corridor crying, "Brother! Brother! I'm scared." Ethan was in the next room. He comforted me, saying our parents were out enjoying themselves, telling me not to be afraid. I kept crying and crying. Finally, Ethan pulled me into his room. I slept in his bed. He lay on the couch. At night, I quietly crawled onto the couch, curling up beside him. Ethan probably woke but didn't push me away. He whispered in my ear, "Don't call me brother anymore. I'm not your brother." Officially, I was Ethan's adopted sister. But everyone knew I was meant to be his future wife. After university, Ethan's mother brought it up directly. "Mother, Sophie, I adopted you, but I never put your name on our family register." Mother. Do you know why? Stammering, I was about to say she wanted me to marry Ethan. But Ethan spoke first. "Ethan, Mom, I've always seen Sophie as my real sister. Her and me. It's impossible." All my girlish blushes and shyness turned pale in that instant. So Ethan had always seen me as his real sister. but the things he'd done with me were nothing like how you treat a sister. After graduation, I applied to Tsinghua. Ethan's eyes reddened. Ethan, didn't you promise you'd apply to the university I'm at overseas? I told him, Sophie. Uncle and Aunt suggested I stay in the country. Actually, as a child, I called Ethan's parents Mom and Dad. Ethan wasn't happy, but he allowed it. As we got older, he suddenly snapped, saying I wasn't their biological child. He insisted I call them Uncle and Aunt. Later, Ethan insisted on taking me overseas for university. He bought an apartment near his campus. We lived together. I said, Sophie, boys and girls are different. Living together isn't good, is it? Ethan dismissed it. Ethan, you're my sister. What's wrong with us living together? I was afraid of thunderstorms. One stormy night soon after moving in, Ethan messaged me asking if I was scared. Time hadn't lessened my feelings for Ethan. Instead, my love for him had grown stronger. He told me to attend the same university, said I wasn't his real sister, and lived with me in the same apartment. Naturally, I assumed he felt something for me too. He was just too proud to admit it. So I replied, Sophie, I'm so scared. I really want to be in your room. That night, I lay in his bed with him. I was 18. He was 20. It was a night I remember clearly. Stormy, electric, and sweltering. I whispered in his ear, Sophie, I really want to kiss you. Ethan's whole body tensed, burning hot. But he didn't touch me. After that, during every thunderstorm overseas, I would slip into his room. He never refused. This gave me a constant illusion that Ethan liked me too. Until university graduation, when Ethan's mother brought up marriage. I blushed deeply. I wanted to say I adored Ethan, longed to marry him. But before I could speak, Ethan said he saw me as his real sister. He didn't know that in that moment, my heart shattered. But Ethan and I did get married. His mother lied, saying she had terminal cancer and her dying wish was for me to marry Ethan. I finally became his wife. The first half of our wedding night was civil enough. I knew Ethan didn't love me. He married me under his mother's pressure. I loved him. I'd rather suffer myself than deny him freedom. So I pretended magnanimity. Sophie, Aunt said you'll face a great calamity at 28. Sophie, once that passes we'll divorce. Ethan's knuckles whitened, but he smiled faintly. Ethan, I'm glad you understand. The bridal suite was huge. Ethan lay on the bed, motionless. I lay on the sofa. Moments later, Ethan seemed to snap. He picked me up, threw me onto the bed, and pinned me down. My eyes were filled with him. He kissed me fiercely, moving down. I'd been with Ethan over 20 years, lain in his arms countless times. He'd never treated me like this. I thought maybe he was drunk. It was my first time. It hurt. I cried from the pain. Ethan stopped. He wiped my tears and apologized. After that, he never touched me again. Until 3 months ago, Ethan had a car accident. It was horrific. His car was completely crushed. Everyone thought Ethan was dead. This was his great calamity at 28. But he survived. Ethan's mother hugged me crying, Mother, you truly are his lucky star. Without you, my son would be dead. My heart felt bitter. Ethan didn't love me. Once this calamity passed, he would divorce me. Though Ethan survived. His legs were injured. Doctors said with treatment, he could fully recover and walk again. For some reason, Ethan refused treatment. After losing mobility, his personality changed. He became obsessed with intimacy. I'll never forget the way he held my head. Now, feeling Ethan's reaction. My face flushed. Ethan's eyes were dark, voice hoarse. Ethan, so that's why you didn't want to last Friday at 9:10 p.m. You were worried about my health. His lips were thin. He kissed the corner of my mouth, nipping gently. Ethan, but do you know not being with you makes me uncomfortable? He took my hand, guiding it down. Ethan, Sophie, help me now. Ethan had never spoken to me like this before. Our intimacy always felt wordless. He'd lie in bed. I'd approach. It just happened naturally. Bullet comments. Bullet comments, the The usually cold male lead is acting like a little puppy begging for treats. Seeing him like this breaks my heart. I want to help him. Bullet comments. Sophie, let go. Let me help him. Bullet comments. Stop. You're going to end up with octuplets. Bullet comments. OMG, I need a bathroom break before continuing. Bullet comments. Huff huff. An hour later, I was exhausted. Eyelids heavy. I keep a strict schedule. By 10 p.m., I'm too sleepy and must sleep. Half asleep, I heard Ethan call my name. Ethan, Sophie, Sophie. My heart softened. The next morning, Ethan was still asleep. His arms were wrapped tightly around my waist, holding me close. I opened his palm, pressing my face into it, rubbing gently. Feeling the warmth of his palm, my nose inexplicably stung. I adored him so much. I didn't want to be apart from him for a single second. I was physically dependent on Ethan. Every version of him entranced me. But I didn't know Ethan's true feelings. Did he love me, or just my body? They say men separate love from physical desire clearly. Suddenly, I noticed Ethan's phone screen was still lit. He must have stayed up all night. The screen showed a search page. My wife always rinses her mouth, but this time she didn't. Does that mean she loves me? Warmth flooded through me. I couldn't resist checking his recent searches. My wife deliberately bought small underwear. Was she hinting about my size? How to satisfy my wife? Every time I see my wife, I want to kiss her. Will she be disgusted? My wife cried on our wedding night. Does she hate me? My wife cried on our wedding night. Does she love someone else? How to make sure my wife doesn't leave me? My nose stung even more sharply. Ethan loved me. This much? Then why, when his mother brought up marriage, did he say he saw me as a sister? I truly couldn't understand. But now, knowing his feelings, I pressed myself tightly against his chest. His chest was hot, his heartbeat quickening. I nipped his collarbone and whispered, Sophie, do you love me? Before, I'd never dared ask such things. I feared humiliation. Ethan's attitude towards me was elusive. He was distant yet tender, sometimes passionate, sometimes aloof. Once, I'd blurted out, Sophie, I really like you. Do you like me? If you do, let's be together, okay? Ethan stayed silent a long time. Finally said, Ethan, Sophie, perhaps I did something to mislead you. You know why I treat you well. His meaning was clear. He treated me well because I was his sister. But back then, I deluded myself, comforting myself that since he hadn't outright rejected me, I still had a chance. Now, Ethan woke up. His chin rested against my cheek. I lifted my head, meeting his dark gaze. My heart pounded wildly. I regretted asking such a blunt question. Ethan cupped my face, speaking deliberately. Ethan, Sophie, I love you. I love you deeply. Hearing it made my tears fall. I choked out, Sophie, you love me? You must be lying. Otherwise, why did you tell your mom you saw me as a sister? Ethan fell silent again. During those seconds, I regretted pushing so hard. Finally he held me tight, murmuring, Ethan, Sophie, I'm sorry. Ethan, I was conflicted back then. I couldn't sort out what I truly wanted. Ethan, in my parents' eyes I'd always rejected you. Ethan, if I suddenly said I wanted to marry you, I instinctively thought, my parents would laugh at me. Bullet comments, stubborn, gloomy, proud male lead. Bullet comments, haha, I remember when Sophie was in college, a foreign guy pursued her. When Ethan found out, he punched the guy several times. Bullet comments, later Sophie asked if it hurt. Bullet comments, Ethan's knuckles were dislocated, hurting terribly, but he coldly said, it doesn't hurt. Bullet comments, Ethan's character is a bit contradictory. For years, he publicly claimed Sophie was his sister. Everyone assumed that's how he saw her. Bullet comments, over time, even Ethan believed his feelings for Sophie were brotherly. Bullet comments, if he married Sophie, it would contradict his words of 20 years. Bullet comments, Ethan is someone whose mouth stays hard even after death. Bullet comments, he'd never allow that. Bullet comments, Only after losing the use of his legs could he finally face his love for Sophie. Bullet comments. Sadly, Sophie misunderstood him. Bullet comments. She thought Ethan didn't love her, that their marriage was due to his mother's pressure. Bullet comments. But. Bullet comments. But now, just because Sophie swallowed, they seem to have cleared the misunderstanding. Bullet comments. True love is like that. It might be late, but it never fails to arrive. I pretended to be angry. Sophie. So you love me now? Sophie. Aren't you afraid your parents or friends will laugh at you? Ethan smiled. Ethan, I just regret it. Ethan, I regret that night when you were 18, why I only held you. Ethan, Sophie, if I'd realized my feelings sooner, maybe you wouldn't have to move. I could do all the moving. I didn't understand at first. But realization dawned quickly. When Ethan was 20, his legs were fine. I bit his shoulder hard. Sophie, your mind is full of dirty thoughts. Ethan's warm breath fanned my neck. Ethan, Sophie, do you love me? Bullet comments. Bullet comments. These two aren't doing anything healthy first thing in the morning? Just asking, do you love me? I love you? Seriously. Bullet comments. What do you know? This is foreplay. Bullet comments. Exactly. Doesn't your boyfriend wake up and ask if you love him? Bullet comments. No, my boyfriend wakes up only wanting milk. I said, Sophie, I love you so much. My childhood crush never faded. Ethan closed his eyes. Ethan. But. You cried on our wedding night. Ethan. I looked it up online. A woman crying means she didn't like it. My hand slid down, pinching his waist. Sophie. Because it hurt. Sophie. Pain makes you cry too. Ethan tapped my nose. Ethan. Then from now on I'll be gentler. I won't hurt you anymore, okay? I turned over, burying my face in the pillow, whispering, Sophie. No. It was almost noon before Auntie came to cook. We got up late. After lunch, I insisted on taking Ethan to the mall. Since his injury, he disliked going out. Besides remote work, he clung to me constantly. Last time I'd convinced him to go to a nearby mall. I bought him underwear. Little did I know it caused such misunderstanding. Ethan. You won't. Ethan hesitated. Ethan. Deliberately buy me small underwear again, will you? Ethan. Last time, you bought small underwear. I thought you were disgusted by me. My eyes widened in surprise. I hadn't expected Ethan to say his thoughts aloud. Sophie. I didn't do it on purpose. I pushed his wheelchair to a secluded spot, lowering my voice. Sophie. This time I won't buy you underwear. His hands rested on his legs. Ethan. Then what do you want to buy? I smiled. Sophie. A dress. Ethan's hands clenched into fists, his voice trembling. Ethan. Why a dress? I whispered in his ear. Sophie. Because a dress is large enough to hold everything. Ethan's clenched fists suddenly relaxed. His ears turned red, his thin lips parting. Ethan, wearing a dress isn't impossible. It was the first time I'd seen Ethan blush. He looked so shy. I desperately wanted to kiss him. I took Ethan back to the underwear store, announcing loudly, Sophie, please bring the largest size underwear you have. My husband needs the biggest. Instantly, every staff member looked at Ethan. Ethan's face flushed deeper. He lowered his head, typing into his phone. What does it mean when a wife buys her husband the largest size underwear? I patted his shoulder, whispering, Sophie, this time, I'll make sure my husband is the most confident man on earth. After buying underwear, we browsed a clothing store. I picked out several shirts for Ethan. He went to try them on. I played on my phone. Suddenly, a familiar voice called, Sophie. I looked up. It was Amber, my beautiful high school roommate. Amber and I were roommates. Initially, we were close friends. In youth, you share crushes with friends. I told Amber I liked a boy. He was 2 years older, incredibly handsome. I adored him. I longed to kiss him constantly. Amber said I had skin hunger. She encouraged me to pursue him boldly. I said I'd confessed, but he saw me as a sister. Amber said it was fine. Sisters have advantages. Get close, and he'll become obsessed with me. Honestly, Amber's advice led me to do many embarrassing things with Ethan in high school. On my 18th birthday, I wrapped myself as a gift and hid in Ethan's room. I'll never forget Ethan's mother untying the ribbon, her shock upon seeing me. She stammered, "Mother, Sophie, I always saw you as my future daughter-in-law. But, you're still a bit young." I was mortified. I'd also run into Ethan's room during thunderstorms to kiss him. Ethan always sternly stopped me. Every scheme Amber suggested ended in humiliation. Until our high school graduation party. I drank beer. Ethan came to pick me up. Amber saw Ethan and stared, stammering, "Amber. Sophie, who is he?" I threw myself into Ethan's arms, mumbling, "Sophie. He's my favorite person. I've liked him forever." But Ethan said, "Ethan, I'm her brother." Amber developed a crush on Ethan. She began viciously insulting me, calling me shameless for loving my brother. I explained we weren't related. Amber raged harder. "Amber, not related? Then you still can't chase him." "He said he's your brother." Later, Amber demanded, "Amber, unless you introduce him to me." I refused. Amber flew into a rage. She publicly slandered me in the class group. "Amber, guess what? Our aloof beauty Sophie is in love with her brother." "Amber. She's disgusting. She'd sneak into his arms during thunderstorms." "Amber. And she copied novels, wrapping herself as a gift on his bed." Even after graduation, it caused an uproar. Classmates mocked and insulted me. The whole school knew. Anonymous messages flooded in. Anonymous. "Feeling lonely, sweetheart?" Anonymous. "Want me to keep you company?" Anonymous. "This guy's a little slut." It deeply traumatized me. Thankfully, I left for university overseas. Years later, Amber seemed married. She clung to a large-bellied man who looked old enough to be her father. Amber eyed me up and down. "Amber. Sophie, heard you went overseas after high school. Back now." I returned her gaze. Time had made her slightly fuller. But objectively, she was still attractive. "Amber. Cat got your tongue?" Amber pointed at me, laughing to the man beside her. "Amber. Honey, this is my high school classmate. She used to be so shameless, seducing her own brother." The older man's eyes lit up. "Man. So desperate." Amber nodded. "Amber. Yes. She was adopted. Her brother's family is rich. To get their money, she used every trick to seduce him." The man chuckled, his beady eyes fixed on me. "Man. Beauty, want to exchange WeChat?" Something felt off. Amber was right there. Yet he openly asked for my contact? I tried to walk into the store. The man grabbed my arm. "Man. Don't leave. I'm loaded. Why not try seducing me?" Suddenly, Ethan emerged from the fitting room, radiating cold fury. I froze. Wasn't Ethan supposed to be disabled? How could he suddenly walk? Before I could speak, the older man paled, legs trembling. "Man. Be boss." Ethan strode to my side, clasping my hand, his gaze icy. "Ethan, get lost." The man tried dragging Amber away. But Amber stood rooted. She glared at me, eyes blazing with rage. "Amber. Sophie, you're with him?" "Amber. He's your brother. How dare you do something so disgraceful?" A sharp slap cut her off as the man struck her face. "Man. Shut up. Move it." Amber was forcibly dragged towards the mall elevators. But the surrounding crowd stared at me with unfriendly, scornful eyes. I felt dizzy. My mind flooded with memories of high school graduation. Amber publicly shaming me just like this. Anonymous. Vile messages echoed in my head. Anonymous. Feeling lonely, sweetheart? Anonymous. Want me to keep you company? Anonymous. This guy's a little slut. My vision swam. Not even the joy of seeing Ethan walk could cut through the fog. Ethan rushed to hold me. His voice was frantic. "Ethan. Sophie. Sophie, what's wrong?" I tried to speak, but no sound came. Darkness swallowed my vision as I fainted. I woke in a hospital. I heard the doctor tell Ethan, "Doctor, no major physical issues. It's stress-induced syncope." Doctor, she likely experienced similar trauma before. Her mind couldn't process it, triggering collapse. Ethan noticed I was awake. He gripped my hand, repeating, "Ethan, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Ethan, if I'd realized my feelings sooner, you wouldn't have suffered those rumors. Ethan, I wish I could go back. I'd tell everyone you meet. I love you. I love you. Ethan, hit me, Sophie. Please." He pressed my palm to his cheek. I gently pinched his nose. "Sophie, I want to go home." "Ethan, but you need rest." "Sophie, I'm fine. I want to go home." I needed to kiss him. Kissing him would make the pain fade. Driving home, Ethan confessed, "Sophie, when did your legs heal?" "Why pretend?" Ethan didn't hide it. "Ethan, about 5 or 6 days ago. I didn't want you to know." "Ethan, on our wedding night, you said we'd divorce once I recovered." "Ethan, I don't want that." I pretended to be angry, "Sophie. Faking it exhausted me." Ethan's knuckles whitened on the wheel. Temptation stirred. My hand slid onto his thigh. His throat moved. "Ethan, I'm driving." I whispered, "Sophie, I want to drive, too."
Ethan's monologue. Sophie came to us at 6. I remember her vividly, bright and wild. I disliked her then. Felt she stole my parents. But she was adorable. Always clinging, saying she wanted kisses. A 6-year-old with runny nose? No way. At 10 in a hotel, I heard Sophie's terrified cries during a storm. I almost ignored her. But my heart softened. I let her in. Little Sophie sobbed. Her parents died in a storm like this. Her mother kissed her forehead with final strength. That kiss gave her safety. "Sophie, brother, kiss me too?" It hurt to hear. But I refused. We lived together for years. My dislike faded. Maybe. I even liked her. But I wouldn't admit it. No reason, just stubbornness. At 18, I left for university abroad. Being apart made me miss Sophie terribly. At 20, Sophie turned 18. I tried flying home for her birthday. My flight got delayed. Mom told me Sophie wrapped herself as a gift for my room. Mom asked, "Do you love Sophie?" "Mom, if yes, marry her at 20. Before I could answer, Mom sighed, "Never mind. I know you don't." Me. But Mom, I do. Mom wanted Sophie at Tsinghua. I refused. 2 years apart was enough. Sophie seemed changed. She didn't say, "I love you," or ask for kisses anymore. I realized why. At her graduation party, I'd called myself her brother publicly. I'd hurt her. I needed to fix it. Make her live with me. Sharing an apartment, surely she'd kiss me. But she didn't. Then came a storm. I stood outside Sophie's door. Through the crack, I saw her trembling under blankets. I texted, "Scared?" I was drafting how to casually invite her to my room. When she ran out herself. Just like childhood, soft and eager. That night she clung to me. God! Didn't she know how tempting she was? I wanted to kiss her so badly. But I didn't. But I asked myself often. Finally understood, I was too proud. To my parents, even to Sophie, I'd always played the role of disinterest. If they knew I loved her, they'd laugh at my weakness. At graduation, Mom brought up marriage. And I faked it again. I said, "She's like a sister." Mom was stunned. Sophie's eyes reddened. Wanted to slap myself. Thankfully, Mom faked terminal illness to force our marriage. Ever. But Sophie didn't love me anymore. She didn't want kisses. On our wedding night, she said we'd divorce after my calamity. My fists clenched. I wanted to punch myself. But habit made me smile. Good. Sophie slept on the sofa. So small, pale, soft. I drank too much. The alcohol screamed, "I want her." So I carried her to bed. But it was too late. Sophie truly didn't love me. She cried. It stabbed my heart. I never touched her again. Scared of her tears. Yet every night, seeing her softness, it tortured me, mind and body. Then the accident came. Crushing pain, fading consciousness. Sophie's face filled my mind. 6-year-old Sophie, 8-year-old Sophie, 18-year-old Sophie. Sophie, I love you. In that moment I thought, If I survive, I'll spend every day kissing her. I survived. But my legs were damaged. Part of me welcomed it. Sophie would have to care for me. And she did, perfectly. She bathed me. Staring at her soft face, I thought, kiss me? She didn't. So, I kissed her. I kissed her. Pure joy. After that, I couldn't stop. Always craving kisses. Luckily, Sophie didn't push me away. Except, she always rinsed afterward. Fine. I'd punish her while she slept. Recently, Sophie uncovered my heart. She said rinsing wasn't disgust, she liked it. In that moment, I nearly wept. She loved me. I loved her. I am her husband. She is my wife. Could anything be more perfect?